Hello, and welcome back to Therapist Plays Night in the Woods. All right, it's time for another day in Possum Springs, which we've been home for a couple of days now. And only just in the last exchange with Mom here has she started to suggest the possibility of May getting a job. Now, she was swiftly shut down for this suggestion, which tells me two things. One, May has already thought about getting a job. She answered very quickly before Mom even got the question out, which does mean it's crossed her mind, but she's not willing to discuss it yet. But that doesn't mean it's a no either. We're still just getting our bearings being at home. And there's a lot of emotions going on right now for May. The fear and uncertainty of the future mixed with the stability and positivity of meeting old friends. So that's the first thing it tells me. She's been thinking about it. Now, the second thing I take from the way that she responded to, have you thought about getting a job, is that it doesn't seem like she has just totally accepted her fate as, I'm returning to town, college was a failure, now I'm going to resign myself to have the same fate as everyone else in Possum Springs, which is, I'm just getting a job here and wasting away. I don't think she's decided that that's what's going on in her life, that that's the storyline she's living in. And I think that's totally appropriate. I would find it strange if she were suddenly committing with full force to coming back home, getting a job, like totally abandoning the idea of a different path for herself. Ultimately, she may decide to get a job, and that would also be fine. But I think it's totally okay for her to still be exploring other possibilities. And like I said in the last episode, I think it's great that Mom isn't pressing the issue too hard yet either. Right now, we're just focused on exploring, having fun, and settling in. So let's do some more of that. All right. Oh, it's raining. It's quite a different vibe to Possum Springs. I don't think we can go that way just yet, so let's go back towards the town. It also sounds like the music is a little different. I mean, it is a fall setting after all, so this kind of weather's not uncommon. May Borowski. Selmers. Now, we all know how important it is to look our best. What? Our appearance is the first and sometimes last impression we make. Selmers, did you join a cult? Lucky for you, I happen to be a licensed dealer. Oh, okay. Of the Sylvam family of products. Selmers, I don't have any money. Oh, okay. Are you giving that pitch to everyone? Have you sold anything yet? Sold some to my mom and to Abby Krangler. Miss Krangler's daughter. Granddaughter. I ran into her at the laundromat over by the school. One time Greg got locked inside of one of the tumble dryers. Did he die? He wanted me to start it, but I chickened out. He definitely would have died. Tell him that. He's still mad. Want to hear a poem? Maybe another time. Of course, I would love to hear a poem, sure. Sometimes I think and start to sing. Oh no. Sorry. I didn't mean to interject. Then I remember, it's October. October. I combined my two favorite months. Fall is really nice. It's the best. Gosh, I really like Selmers, and I actually think that she's a great source of inspiration for May. Not because she has everything figured out. She doesn't, right? She's kind of in a similar position. She's trying to figure out what she's doing. I get the vibe she's not totally satisfied with her options, similar to basically everyone else in Possum Springs. She's trying stuff, and honestly, that can be a much more powerful source of inspiration than someone who is like way far ahead of you. If she was looking at someone who had a job and went to school and like had their whole life figured out, it's very hard to understand what the distance between herself and that person would be, like what the actual steps would be. But May's a very observant person. Like, I think she does have a good intuition for people and for herself. And if she were to look at someone like Selmers and say, wow, she's in a very similar position as me, but she's like just ahead of me. She's got like a couple of things going on. If she's managing this situation at a 4 and I'm at a 2, I can understand the difference between a 2 and a 4 and like what the steps to get up to a 3 would be. It's hard to understand what the steps from a 2 to a 10 would be. I actually try to include stories from my own life and the messiness of it sometimes, because I know that like this channel and some of the things I talk about can be a source of inspiration for people. And one of my main goals and interests in doing this channel is like to make mental health more accessible. The fucking industry is so cost prohibitive and there's so much information out there and people try to gatekeep it. And I think a lot of that shit is unnecessary and people try to dress it up as this like really far out of reach thing for most people. And it's like, okay, well, it's hard to use that as a source of inspiration. Like if it feels like to have a good life and be mentally well is this extremely distant thing that I'm going to take my whole life to get to, then, well, we're not going to be very motivated to pursue it. So I try to include like, you know, the messy parts of my life if I can, because I want people to feel that there were lots of steps and missteps on the way to where I am. And you may be surprised to know that they actually are not giant steps away from where you might be. And so I think it's important to have peers like this, like Selmer's, who are just ahead. And there's definitely things that May is probably ahead in as well, that we haven't discovered yet or she hasn't spoken about, but it's that installation of hope. Okay, I don't know if I can change my whole life overnight, but if I'm in the same situation as Selmer's, and she's like, you know, kicking a little bit of ass in what she's doing, maybe I can too. Days are gonna start getting shorter soon. It makes me sad. I like it. I love the fall, but I hate the dark. I like it. Sure do. Well, that's because we're a cat. We like the dark. I seen a raccoon. Where? Up in Town Century. He's a biggin. Cool. Always gonna stop and check in on Selmer's when we can. I think they have a nice little friendship. My cat don't like folks on the porch. Cat. Well, I don't know if this town is big enough for more than one cat. Okay, let's keep going. Oh, there's a raccoon. Oh, maybe I can try again to get the pretzel for the baby rats. This is my main purpose right now. Okay. Here it is. My next opportunity. I bet some rat babies would love a delicious pretzel. Now, I successfully stole something from the mall, and I learned to keep my fucking cool when they start to look over. Yes. Just gotta keep your fucking cool, May. Don't move. Yes. It's going in the pocket. I am the bandit queen. Oh my god. I have to go immediately and feed them. They're probably starved. Oh, there's always something going on here. What's up, kids? Rainy day, huh? But not down here. You kids have your own little secret hideout down here, huh? Whatever. When I was a kid, literally nobody cared. No! I'm trying to impart some wisdom onto you. You were not here, okay? Last time I was down in the tunnel, but I was standing up for you kids. Me, personally. But I feel like I was embodying May's thoughts as well. Okay, I'm out here making the case that this world isn't doing enough for you. That your general distaste and disinterest, or basically anything, is the expected, if not the appropriate reaction to your circumstances. Now, I don't say those things expecting some sort of return on my investment, that you would validate that I have advocated for you and that makes me sort of special to you in some way, because I'm not, okay? I understand that. To you, I'm just one of the adults now, but I have feelings, and this hurts them. Interesting, though, that this is a situation where, like, the distance is too great, I guess, between these kids and May for her to really be much of an inspiration to them. She also doesn't really have her shit together in the way that like Selmer's seems to have a little pieces of it. Like, we can't really do shit for them. We can't drive them around. We can't buy them booze. We're not cool. They don't know how to play the bass. Okay, that's pretty cool. So I don't know. Maybe there's something to be inspired by. But May is hungry for development. Like, she went off to school. She's trying to figure out what she's doing back here. These kids may not even really have the sort of baseline of aspiration that's encouraging them to want to grow up and develop themselves. And so we're not shit to them. We're not shit. We ain't gonna be shit. Well, whatever. Okay then. Oh. We're just lost. We're a lost little cat. We don't relate to the younger generation. We don't relate to the older generation. We fit in with our friends due to familiarity, but we're not significantly different, at least in May's mind, to who we were when we left Possum Springs the first time. I actually think that she is quite significantly different, but she's not really in the mindset to perceive that. But I feel like that's pretty detrimental to her self-esteem right now. She's probably feeling like she's expended her youth and isn't in the category of kid who only really has to think about today. But she doesn't really have the capacity to think in the long term the way the adults around her do, and are starting to encourage her to. It's common in this period of being in your early 20s that May is in to feel kind of aimless, but a lot of pressure to find a direction. And what I often say to people in her situation is, look, some projects in life are architecture. They're about having a very well-defined plan, a blueprint for what's going to happen, and making sure that's very sound before you ever lay the first brick in the foundation. And that's a process of deciding up front what the goal is and making sure that the goal isn't going to change partway through before you begin it. You have to be committed to the end result before you ever even begin it. And so as a life project, that comes with knowing very clearly what those objectives are and how your personal values are informing them. But some life projects are not architecture, and they're a lot closer to gardening. And with gardening, you may have a general goal in mind, but the process is very exploratory and iterative. You plan for things, but you don't have full control over basically anything besides putting the thing into motion, seeing how it turns out, and then making a choice based on that. You go into that process accepting early on that you're not going to be able to control every aspect of it. And not only is that okay, it is very much the point of something like gardening. In fact, that's the beauty and the joy of doing it, is knowing that you don't have to have the procedure mapped out. Something organic is going to grow from this. You're going to set it into the motion, and whatever you cultivate from it is still going to be very personal. You're still going to have a very deep connection to the result, but you don't have to have mastery over technique or be able to predict the outcome before you ever begin it. And knowing the difference between those two things and just recognizing what the mindset should be can be really valuable for this particular period of life, where there's a lot of things that seem like architecture, but are actually gardening. Education, okay? Choose your program. Here's your syllabus. You're going to do these semesters, and this is the degree at the end of that, and here's what the job market looks like. And it makes it seem like you're trying to design a life for yourself 6, 8, 10 years down the road. And so you should know every piece of it before you put the first thing down. You shouldn't. You don't have to, okay? My journey of becoming a therapist has been very, very much a gardening process. I got into my psychology undergrad not knowing at all what I was going to do with it. And it wasn't until like the very last year of that undergrad that I decided to do the counseling graduate program. And even that I was like kind of unsure of. It was one of the things that was available, and I had enough of an interest already in the idea of therapy to actually go and do it. But I certainly wasn't like sure, like 100% that that's what I should do, or that that would like turn out well for me. I did not know what the result of this YouTube channel would be. I mean, it started as something very different than it is now. And well, when I treat it like an architecture project, one, I tend to fail at things a lot more. Like I try to design the result of my efforts in a way that is not for me to really design. so much of this online work is like totally out of your hands. Like you can try to understand what's going to happen, common results, like how videos are going to perform and that sort of thing. But like you just can't design it. So I fail more often, and I also enjoy it less. And so I have benefited greatly from this mindset shift that many of the best things in my life were very unplanned. And well, they've just been opportunities that I did set into motion, sometimes on purpose, sometimes not, and then made a choice based on what grew from that. However, lots of people like to either pretend or suggest that their gardening projects have been architecture. Like that the success they found has been entirely planned out. And sometimes that's probably the case, but I'm gonna hazard to say that most of the time it isn't. You know, I look at something like my parents were great parents, and I'm like, how did they do it? How did they like raise me and my siblings, and we're not all too fucked up? As a kid, I just looked at their lives and thought, oh yeah, like they just know what they're doing. But as I've gotten older and had conversations with them, like it's very much been a gardening project for them, both the parenting and the lifelong relationship that they have. Like they didn't know anything about how things were going to turn out. And that's a case where they never pretended that they architected their lives. But as a kid growing up, it sort of seemed like that was the only way to do it. Come to find out, most people are just winging it in a lot of ways. And that's totally okay. My dad says something that always sticks out to me whenever we have these conversations. I say, why did you make that decision? What was going through your mind when we moved here or did this? And he just says, I made the best decision that I could with the information that I had at the time. That's it. We can see a couple of moves ahead, but if you try to design a grand scheme for life, you often end up disappointed. And you may reach the end of your architecture project and realize that you wanted something different. So I would say that to May, and anyone else who feels like her, that at this point in your life, and it doesn't even have to be your early 20s, it could be in your early 30s like I am, it's not all architecture. Now, something I want to do with my life is move back to the EU at some point. That's an architecture project. Like, I probably won't stumble into that. I do have to put certain specific things into motion and follow through on them in a very sort of structured way. But even that has aspects of gardening. Like, I don't know exactly when or how that's going to happen. But for most things in life, I would say, give yourself a break. You don't have to know everything before you do anything. And that is a lesson that I try to remind myself of on occasion. All right, I've had enough of my feelings hurt in this little tunnel here. Let's go back to the surface. To the comfort of autumn rains. I actually really miss this vibe as someone who currently lives in the desert and doesn't get this weather well at all. It's something I'm very nostalgic for myself. This is another one of my favorite side characters. I'm a little disappointed that there's not like dialogue with her. She's just hanging out here all day, thinking about heartbreak and music. Longtime viewers of this channel know that I have, I guess you could call it a fixation for clerks or any profession where the entirety of your job is like staying in one place for a very long time and interacting with people who come into your establishment. I guess I'm sort of fascinated by the combination of occupied time with an unoccupied mind. Like, you're here all day doing kind of the same thing, but it's not really intensive. Kind of let your mind wander. I had a job like this. Actually, my very first job, I worked in the library for my university. And most of the time, nobody came in there. So yeah, you spend a lot of time just kind of thinking about stuff. You spend a lot of time dreaming. But on the subject of what I talked about last time, the like sort of state of mind that you're in isn't necessarily conducive to what you're doing, because you're not in a very actionable state. But you're probably sitting there thinking a lot, your mind occupied with the potentials of all the things that you would love to do, architecture or gardening related. But you can't do anything about it because you're stuck there. And so you kind of have like 3 choices to cope with that situation. You can choose active imagination, a little more present with your thoughts and what you're thinking about. Distraction, like thumbing through a magazine talking about emerging technologies and socio-political developments and all of that sort of thing. Or dissociation, just turning the old brightness knob on your awareness down until your time is no longer occupied. For what it's worth, it's not for me to judge whether that's an enjoyable experience or not. This clerk seems to like what she does. She said as much last time we spoke with her. So far, the only thing we know about her is that she likes movies, cute boys, and music. And I actually think that if you have a job like this, you may be more likely to have a very rich inner world than someone else, because that's where you have to sort of spend a lot of your time so that the experience doesn't feel like wasting away. So I would like to get to know this person. I hope they have some more dialogue for us eventually. I think no one will be surprised if I end up having a quite thorough analysis of a character who speaks literally only 2 icons. It looks so sad and empty when we're not playing in it. Oh, the party barn. It does look sad and empty. Let's stop in and see what B is up to. I love how she's just smoking. Truly doesn't give a fuck. Now, what is her experience working this kind of job? Because she's also a clerk. So is Greg, for that matter. And Angus. Everybody's a clerk in this town. And Mom! Mom is also a clerk. Oh my god, this is a whole town of people who have the most fascinating job in the world to me. Okay, wait, there's a pattern here. My brain is gonna explode. Everyone that we interact with basically has the same type of job, which is all of your time is occupied by doing basically nothing all day, with your mind left to roam the infinite possibilities of better things that you could be doing. Some people like this job. The video clerk girl seems to think that it's all right, but we know that B doesn't really give a shit about this position. Mom likes hers, and Angus does as well, but Greg is, so far when we've seen him, he's mostly interested in when he gets off. Yeah, this is very interesting. I'm gonna file this away for further thought. It's crazy, though, that everybody's basically got this job. Hey, B. Hey, May. How's it going? Got a load of rock salt to move. Came in early this year. And like a crap load of snow shovels. Usually the distro place doesn't goof up like this. Maybe it's run by weather wizards? Yeah, that's not a bad theory. So what's up? Wanna hang out tonight? I'm working. If you wanna, like, come along. Oh. I was thinking we'd go play putt-putt out in Hunwick. May, that's actually not a bad idea. But sorry, gotta work. Oh, jeez, what is even the point? Paychecks, rent, food, medicine, that kind of thing. So do you want to come along or not? Got a lot to do today. Let's hang out, yes. Ah. Shit, I didn't know that I was going to commit to that. Shoot. Okay, I guess we're going to miss some things around the town. I was worried that if I said I've got other things to do that it would, like, remove my ability to say yes, but I guess that just means, like, right now, and I can go check out some other things. I also thought it'd be similar to last time where, like, we would maybe get together at the band or something. Ah, well, I was going to hang out with B anyways. I hope it didn't miss anything too relevant. As someone who grapples with my own perfectionism, I have to let go of the architecture project thinking very often. In a way, these playthroughs are a little bit of therapy for me in that sense, because yeah, I don't really know how they're going to pan out. Like, this is not the typical type of creative project that I normally work on, where I like try to meticulously design every little piece of it. But that's good for me. Like, it really lets me just sort of lean into what happens. And, well, it always ends up working out eventually anyways. Couldn't you just, like, refuse to do house calls? Nope. Why? It's called a job. People pay you to do it. Ideally, at least. You coming? There's a thing back here by the driveway. Yeah, she's an old lady. She's got weird shit in her yard. It's like a windmill. Yep. I've never been back up here before. Hey, Borowski, you have now been here. Oh, this is interesting. That's nice. This time B is kind of taking the lead. This is very nice that she invited us on this little work trip. Yeah, just a bunch of old cabins people turned into houses. Some hunting camps. So don't, like, get shot or anything. Buck season isn't for a few days, right? It's very interesting. The buck season isn't for a few days, right? It's very curious the way the fireflies have gathered around us. Well, folks get impatient. A murder. It ain't murder if it's animals. That's dark. Hold that thought. You gonna knock? Thank you for coming on such short notice. No problem. You know what I just fucking forgot? I didn't give the pretzel to the baby rats. I'm such a terrible rat parent. I got so distracted talking about those fucking kids in the tunnel that I forgot what my main purpose in this world is. It's okay, Brady. These are very resilient baby rats. They're gonna be fine. They're not gonna starve overnight, and you still have the pretzel. But it's not warm. Fuck. This is why parenting terrifies me so much. Like, being well-intentioned, but still getting it wrong. I don't know if I can handle that on a grander scale than this. Taking after baby rats in this virtual world. It's okay. There'll be another opportunity for that, Brady. Those pretzels are there every day. We can always thieve another one. No problem. I can sleep through a 4-arm alarm fire, but that furnace. I'll take a look at it. Ever since Jean passed, I just can't abide that thumping. Understandable. Jean was such a darling, man. Oh yeah, I was starting to do a grandma voice. Hey, what did you mean by hold that thought? Wait for it. I'll never forgive them for taking him away. Uh-huh. Ain't like I didn't treat him right. I looked it up on the internet. He didn't smell or nothing. Wait for it. You can't take a woman's husband just because he's dead. There it is. Holy God. Took him right off that couch. It's a crime. Yeah, a crime was definitely committed, all right. He just couldn't abide not being able to tax him anymore. That's what it was. Damn. Grandma may be getting up there in years, but she's still sharp as a tack. She knows how to still ask the question, who benefits? Who benefits and who doesn't benefit? And the tax man doesn't benefit from someone who is no longer alive. Well, I won't talk your ears off about it. Come take a look at my fridge while you're here. We bill by the half hour. Luna freeze. Good job. Yeah, it's a nice fridge. What's the problem? Oh, there's no problem. It's just a classic, an original Luna freeze. Wow. They were all the rage when I was your age. They last forever. They make me feel so young. I saw one of these the other night when I got back into town. Oh, really? Where? Upside down under some logs in a creek. In a ravine. So, furnace? Oh, yes. Right through here to the basement. Sounds good. Come on, May. Alright, we'll be down there for a bit. Please remember not to lock us in. What? Last time we sent someone, he got locked in the basement. I assure you that did not happen. He called me. From your basement. Your man did smell a bit of booze when he came by. Oh, okay. Busted. Or something. Okay, down we go. It's nice meeting you. I don't really know who you are, little person. It's okay. Neither do I. Oh man, I love creepy basements. And why wouldn't you? Look at all this splendor. Geez, she's got a lot of junk. Maybe she's got a few more husbands stacked in the corner. All right, let's get this done so we can go home. What is that? A fishing rod? Can we do something with that? Fish, fish, fish! Can I grab it? Guess not. What about over here? There's a bat? Ah, my old nemesis. Professor Lucius von Nomio. Can we bash him up? I guess not. Isn't it illegal to smoke indoors? It is. Well, 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 be the criminal. It's a dummy. I'm trying to quit. Oh. Interesting. So I chew on this thing. What? Notice no smoke coming out? No smoke at all? But like, I've seen you smoke. Yeah, not indoors. I totally thought it was real. Where did you think the smoke was going? I thought you were swallowing it? May, do you know how smoking works? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not a smoking scientist, Beatrice. Lord, what else don't you know? Sorry I didn't get a degree in cigarettology. What even was your major in college? Kicking ass and getting rad? So that's the furnace? Yeah, not giving any time to that. Gosh, B is so cool, and she just became 10 times cooler with that move. Yes, that's the furnace. I've decided his name is Clanky. Okay. You just hang out. I'm gonna go fix this right quick. Don't, like, break anything. What am I gonna break? This is a basement full of crap. Oh, geez, okay. Shouldn't be long. Can I help? Nope. Why am I here then? Because you wanted to come along. Just chill. Jeez, this is one old-ass fan. It's made of metal, and you could chop your finger off. I feel like I should break something. What is this? Badminton. Bandmitten. Badminton. Racket. It's the rich inner world of Mae Borowski. Can I go back upstairs? No. I really can't do anything? Beatrice, hurry up! I bet I can make something out of all this junk. Jeez, who even would have this much junk? Oh, are we gonna combine it? Yeah, okay, I could see this being useful. I could see this being useful in furnace fixing. What are we going to build? This looks useful. This looks useful! Surprised we can't pick up the bat. I need your expertise to fix this stupid furnace, Professor. Oh, I can't wait for the ingenuity. All right, so I can't carry anything else, so I'm gonna say this is enough stuff. This is gonna be great. So got a gnome, a fishing pole, a badminton racket, and a fan. Got 2 wheels and a turny thing with no wheel. Probably just need to turn the turny thing. Solid deduction. Just turn up the fire to open up the heat pipes. I think we should open up the heat pipes. Clanky's probably got loads of heat, but it can't get out. To get Clanky all hot and bothered, we will teach Clanky to love. I bet I could... think we should be anywhere near this fucking thing. But I want to help my friend. I want to be relevant. Desperately, I'll do anything to be relevant. I especially need the recovery after that fucking foible with the cigarettology stuff. Use the racket as a handle? No. Nomi could bite onto the turny thing where the wheel was. Yeah, like one of those biting wrench things. I am literally her. Like, when it comes to this stuff. Her logic for dealing with engineering is mine. In fact, the way that she's explaining things is exactly how my brain would interpret this situation, so that makes sense to me. Okay, yeah, that's the stuff. Probably could, like, pull him. But we're not always going to be here to pull him. One good hard pull should be enough. Like if it's stuck, do furnaces get stuck? Well, I would think that one good hard pull should be enough. Maybe it's just like rusted. Grandma's not coming down here regularly to yank this thing free. I bet it just needs one hard good pull. Okay, so, how much space do we have down here? We got plenty of room. Okay, focus, May. I wonder if I'll ever get that motorcycle. I wonder what happened to Casey's boat. Oh, she's thinking about speed. A cool bike that isn't dumb and loud because that hurts my ears. Drag racing. Can you drag race on bikes? Or is that like a car thing? I don't know. That one old movie had the monster guy with the monster drag racer. And he had a cool helmet and cool boots. And it was the coolest thing ever. Huh. You could drag Nomi. Use the fan as like a wheel. Rev it up and let it yank Nomi. Tie Nomi to the racket. Tie the racket to the fan. I gotta say, she's making a lot of sense. Oh yeah, May, that's the stuff. This is brilliant. This is genius. I'm a genius. All right, let's give this a shot. Okay, done. What? I think I fixed it. Now let's see what we've got here. Yeah, we did. What did you do? I engineered an elegant long-term solution. God damn it. Way to go, May. Please don't fix anything ever again. Like, don't even have a... Anything you have to maintain. Oh, freaking crap. It was totally gonna work. This is so typical. I'm gonna check the exit. Wait here. I'm gonna guess that fixing a furnace is more like architecture, which is why I and May should be nowhere near doing that kind of activity. That bat is looking awfully auspicious over there, though, glowing in the dimness. Almost like it's being called to. Damn it. Oh, are we stuck? We're gonna have to bash our way out. Oh, I'm gonna make myself so fucking useful. Well, we're locked in. Ugh, I knew this was gonna happen. Stupid, stupid bee. We can cut a hole in the floor. No, 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 no. We can bash a hole through the door. But I gotta get her started on this line of thinking. With what? Maybe she has an old saw down here. And we're gonna what? Build a heap of garbage to stand on and saw a circle in the floor? Like a cartoon? Well, not with that attitude. Well, this knob is really old and loose. Maybe I can, like, figure this out. I'll look around too. Yeah, you go look around a whole bunch. See, B is making the assumption that I'm fucking useless. Okay? She's not incorrect. But she will be incorrect after I make myself useful. The one thing she could hear is the furnace when it was broken. Broken things need to be broken. Well, it's the one tool I do know how to use. A tool for beating ass. Oh, fuck yeah. Oh my god. I love how we didn't even ask if this was a good idea. Suck it, you piece of crap furnace. Wow, that is pretty loud. Yeah, geez. Surprised I can't hear that back in town. Okay, cool, she's coming. Thank God. Thank me more like. Hey, Mrs. Miranda, you locked us in. Well, that was fun. Uh-huh. You all right? She gave us lemonade. Yeah. I love how she always she tries to make such a big statement. It's such a nice night out. Oh, that's a sweet thing to say. Lovely. Then what's up? Nothing, just tired. Worked all day. I'm all hyper. Yeah, no shit. Good for you. You were zero fun. Yup. You need, like, some magical shit to, like, give you a new perspective. Let me know when that happens. Wouldn't want to miss it. Well, that's pretty interesting that she brought that up. Makes me think that she's come to a moment herself where a new perspective suddenly shifted things in a way that made her feel more confident, or at least gave her some energy. I do think that B would benefit from a new perspective. Not because she's seeing things incorrectly, but because she clearly feels like life doesn't have a ton of movement at the moment. To me, her sort of lower energy and lower mood isn't a sign of, like, not being motivated by things, but it's just a totally unused potential. We know that she's smart. We can tell that she has things she really cares about, but she doesn't have something like the distance between May and Selmer's helping her to advance incrementally towards a future her. For a situation like this, where someone has the capacity to change themselves, which we can clearly tell she does. She's working on her smoking habit. She has the capacity to change, but she's not being given strong opportunity to use that capacity. At least not for bigger things just yet. One of my favorite ways to explore someone's untapped potential is a very simple, but very effective writing exercise. It's called sentence completion. And the way this works is you start with a stem, whatever subject you want to work on. It could be patience, it could be potential, it could be having more fun, it could be motivation, having more energy, anything that you like. You start with a stem that looks like this. If I used 5% more of my potential today, and then you leave the rest blank. You then write 6 to 10 endings to that sentence, and you're not supposed to sit and think too much about it. The goal here is to let whatever surfaces from your subconscious fill in whatever the end of that sentence is. So for myself, if I used 5% more of my potential today, I would focus on the things that really matter to me. I'd make better use of my time. I'd feel more accomplished at the end of the day. My experiences would align closer with my values. I'd stop feeling guilty. For resting so much. And the future wouldn't seem so daunting. So what comes out of this typically is you start to see what other things going on in your life and how you feel and what you think about revolve around whatever the subject that we chose to focus on right now, potential, is related to. Truthfully, it's not something I'd put much attention to until I wrote it down just here, but to me, it seems like whether I'm using my potential is the difference between whether I'm satisfied with myself and what I'm doing. It's the key to having more focus. It's deeply related to how I spend my time, my sense of accomplishment, my values, that I feel guilty for resting. Not something I had really thought much about, but I think it's true. And my anticipation of not doing enough to prepare for the future. And so when I arrive there, I tend to feel guilty and, well, yeah, like I didn't accomplish much and I wasted my time and why didn't I focus? And it starts to become circular and why couldn't I have architected all of this better? Whatever is central to the things that your subconscious is focused on tend to come out when your mind is forced to complete this sentence that is projective. If I do more of this or have more of this, and we'll come back to why we chose 5% there, then these things will happen. Like the mind almost cannot let itself leave that statement unfinished. And so it's very interesting when you start doing this, and it doesn't even matter what you choose to focus on. It doesn't have to be potential, but if the sentence were, if I were 5% more patient with myself, I would find more moments of gratitude than moments where I'm behind on things. I would allow myself to take the time to rest that I really need. I would spend more time doing things that are just for fun and not always productive. I'd be able to tell what's really in my way versus what I'm allowing to hold me back. So you can drill this on any subject, take it in any direction. Your subconscious will do the work for you because that's what's happening. Every single person has more of their own resources than they're currently using, which is why we say, okay, well, let's just do 5% more, not 10%, not 15, not 20 or 100, because I don't know what it means to be 100% more patient or use 100% more of my potential. However, I do have an intuitive sense of what 5% more patience could be. Like, that feels very tangible. Again, that's a close distance from where I am that I can say, yeah, being 5% more patient right now means taking a deep breath and not trying to control my thoughts as much as I have been. It means really thinking before I act for the next 20 minutes. Whatever, you could make it more tangible than if you tried to say, oh, I'm going to be 50% more patient tomorrow. The further out, the less likely we are to do it. But you can be 5% more patient right now. You could use 5% more of your potential right now. You could be 5% more mindful, 5% more grateful, 5% more optimistic. You are never operating at 100% passively of any virtue or value that you possess. And so all you have to do to start is ask the question, if I dial up this thing, whatever you choose, by 5%, what would happen? And by doing this, it allows you to see what your potential for that thing is, what it's related to in the rest of your life, what things you might need to change if you were going to try to do 5% more of this every day. And I can just about guarantee you, because I've done this on myself and with people in therapy many, many times, that if you start doing this every day, if you start your day and choose something to focus on, like let's say it's gratitude, if you're feeling kind of pessimistic lately, start the day and say, if I were 5% more grateful, or I allow myself to add 5% more gratitude to my life, whichever one you choose, what would happen? By making the sentences, you allow your mind to start thinking of and looking for those opportunities throughout the day. It's almost impossible not to get that 5% of whatever thing. And actually to go beyond that, you find that starting off with this little bite-sized 5% is like almost too easy. You know, you get halfway through the day and you're like, wow, I was actually 30% more grateful. Easiest way to be an overachiever, right? Is to start small. And so you would then return to that stem at the end of the day and do what's called bookending. So beginning of the day, if I were 5% more grateful today, and then finish the day with when I am 5% more grateful, what happens? 6 to 10 endings. Describe what occurred when you dialed this thing that you're trying to accomplish up. When I have 5% more gratitude in my life, my relationships feel more fulfilling. I allow myself to slow down and appreciate the details of things. I take more interest in things that I normally would overlook. Whatever happens, and then do it again the next day. 5% more gratitude. You'll often do more than that. And continue to drill on this virtue, this value, whatever it is, day after day. And throughout a week, if you chose gratitude to focus on and you leveraged your subconscious to explore what incrementally pursuing this thing is, you will find it very hard to fail at this. Like, I can guarantee you, because you're adding awareness, you're adding intention to this thing, and then you're confirming what happens at the end of the day with when I have this 5% more of whatever, this is what I feel like, this is what happens. In the course of that, you'll probably have revealed patterns and things that are related to it, and maybe that's what your next stem is, right? You can make this a very regular exercise. Maybe in the course of exploring my potential, I realized that, rest was something I was really overlooking. And so if I allowed myself 5% more rest every day, maybe that's just 2 minutes, before I turn on the camera and get to recording, that I allow myself to take a deep breath, not look at a screen, take a nice long drink of cold water, whatever. I think 5% more rest and a nice cold drink of water before a video is probably going to lead to a better final outcome, right? So all that is to say, I would recommend this to someone like B, who feels like they are not tapping into the very deep reserves of skills and potential that she just doesn't have an outlet to explore. This might help push her in the right direction. I know that it's helped me when I have felt like I am stuck or stagnant in some area of life, and I'll incorporate this into other things that I do, like my voice recordings. I keep a vocal journal. Many of you know this. And so I explore that subject in my vocal journal by just kind of choosing a direction, saying aloud what the ends of those sentences are, and then coming back to it at the end of the day to see what happened. It's so simple to do, but it can be a very empowering process if you're consistent with it. So if you do try it, let me know what happens. I'd be curious to see what your experience is. But for now, we're just gonna have to use the crowbar method of summoning potential, which is the May-Borowski method. Using her hyperactivity and ability to flawlessly embarrass herself and everyone around her as a way to inspire and force people to change. So far, it's worked pretty well for Beatrice over there. And I bet it's about to work again. Oh, maybe I'm supposed to collect all these little firebugs. Wow. Are you like a firefly whisperer or something? You're just like me, I guess. You're an interesting person, May-Borowski. No, Mrs. Miranda is an interesting person. Granddad said being interesting is all you can hope to be. Oh, I'm going to use the granddad line. Well, mission accomplished. Oh! I have to say this would have been a much less exciting evening if you weren't along for the ride. Along for the ride. See, I'm good to have around. I mean, you can certainly beat the shit out of a furnace. I can beat the shit out of anything. You should, like, channel that aggression you always have into something useful. Dr. Hank said way back I need to repress it. We're gonna need to discuss this Dr. Hank at some point if we do get introduced to him, because I do not agree. Repress, not like learn how to deal with it. He specifically said repress. Okay. That's my reaction. Okay. So do you think Miss Miranda, like, pulled her husband's guts out? Isn't that what you do for mummies? I don't know, May. Do you think you'd have the stomach for it? Nope. Probably took a lot of heart. Yep. I wish she would explain it to us. I get it, May. She really Okay, that probably stayed in place. Yeah, that should stay where it belongs. I'm leaving. Hey, you gotta live your life. Bye. This is me gone. Hey, wait up. You're walking back to town. You've got a lot of gall to say that. Calling the cops. Oh my gosh, they're so adorable together. What a lovely evening. Workin'. Grrr. Angry furnace. Who makes a mummy? How's work? A little chat with Papa Cat. You know, better than the glass factory. Is it? I've mined, I've ran machines, but now I get to slice steaks and hock salamis. I mean, it's easier on the back, that's for sure. But, like, do you like it? I like having a paycheck. Fair. Paychecks, the sweetest meats of all. Thinking a lot about work lately, aren't we, May? What'd you do tonight? Oh, you know, stuff. Tired. Feel like I just did a day's work. You know, there are places you can get paid for work these days. That's fucking slick, Dad. Oh, really? Yeah, they call it... This is so great. I love the writing. Huh. You kids with your slang. Slang you could pick up at work. Okay, he's laying it on quite a bit thicker than Mom did. Okay, yes, point made. What about those boxes I asked about in the crawl space? I'm thinking about it. Watch some TV with me? Yeah, for a little bit. Perfect timing. Garbo and Malloy is starting. Oh, great. Ah, yes. You know we like to get political here. Gotta do it. Gotta. You hear about this new law in the books? Pirating a movie online. You know about that? I do. Punishable by up to 10 years in prison. Wow. And here I've been trying to get in the hard way. Okay, that one's actually pretty good. He has, folks. Wonder if pirating a movie about first-degree murder earns you more prison respect than one about grand larceny. Hey, Malloy, you know what I think about that law? What, Garbo? That's a wappa. I don't get that one. That's a wappa. Coming up next, stupid sandwiches. I'd kind of like to see that. Well. Another day. Another adventure. It's tough being an unemployed cat. Just sit around and look cute all day. It's hard work. Hey, that was fun. I adore how they like check in with each other as soon as they're home. Let's do that again sometime. You're pretty handy when it comes to breaking stuff. I'm sure there's a job in there somewhere. Yeah, it's called demolition. You can actually get a job doing that. Holy shit! I've found my calling. I'm glad I could help facilitate this. Oh, so I looked up people who attract insects. Seems to come down a lot to heat and various odors. And they can't get enough of this. I guess not. Good night, May. Night. I wonder if we are going to get a job. And if it will be a clerk job. Hey, punk, what you do tonight? Got trapped in a basement. Beat up a furnace. Right on, man. Night, night. Oh, I kind of feel sad that we're like not really that close with Greg. Obviously, you have to choose who you hang out with in a given playthrough. And while we're having a lot of good like insight and character development moments with B, sometimes you just need to pal around with your boy. But we are going to stick to B's little stories for this playthrough. All right. It's bedtime. Her little cat noises. It's so cute. Another dream sequence. Are we gonna smash stuff in this one? Or if we get our smashing out in the waking world? If she's dreaming about this stuff because of the like the parades that she went to as a kid. I just love the color palette of these dream sequences. Whoa! Walking on the water. Now it's getting really funky. Okay, made it all the way back up to the top. Oh shit! A squirrel? Not quite as scary as the bear. Bears are pretty scary. Squirrels not so scary. Squirrels are cute. Bears are also cute, but they're scary. Scary cute. Okay. Oh, got some new messages. Hey, got a call from Mrs. Miranda. Apparently, she's upset that we messed up her basement. Whatever. She didn't pay us to clean it up. I'm at work all day. Just saying, if you want to say hello. I'm here to be hello, Dad. Hey, yo. Hey, boyo. At work all day. Very bored. Work sucks. Crap Falcon, more like it. Dude, Greg is the fucking coolest. I admire him greatly. Well, as always, let's check in with Mama Cat before we close things out. She's looking a little tired as well. Ah, morning. Long night? Yeah, I went to work with B. Oh, are you gonna work there? No, Mom. I was just tagging along. Though I was, like, really useful. Mm-hmm. It was a new and exciting feeling. Mm-hmm. You okay? Yeah, just been doing boring adult stuff. What kind of adult stuff? I'm adult stuff. Just like budget, bills, numbers. A lot of adulthood is number stress. Ain't that the fucking truth? That sounds bad. I'm bad at numbers. Oh, I remember. Okay, well, I'm gonna head out. Mm-hmm. Have a nice day. Oh my God. Oh my God. I'm fearful that things are about to get a little too real in Possum Springs. Mama Cat's anxious about money stuff. Numbers. But I've grown dependent on her enthusiasm and passive encouragement. Now she's all stressed about numbers. Okay, May. You may actually need to get a job, like for real. Not like in a sort of personal development, sort of character growth way, but like keeping the lights on for the family sort of way. However, I still think it says a lot that, you know, both parents are very lightly putting that in front of her, rather than making strong demands about it. I think at some point it becomes very reasonable to discuss that with her, especially considering so many of her peers are working. But it would be very different if her first exposure to work was, you know, a parental demand versus like what she ended up having, which was a very fun, exciting moment with her friend B. She may actually be able to associate working with tapping into some of her unused potential rather than something that necessarily stifles it. What's clear to me, though, is that some of the malaise of the population of Possum Springs does seem to be about almost everyone in it is underutilized. And you know what? I'm just gonna fucking say it. I think everybody is underutilized. Everyone, everywhere. Most jobs don't allow people to tap into their full potentials. Sometimes because they're so mundane and don't demand very much of people, or they demand things that are not very meaningful to them. But sometimes they demand way too much, and that's not using potential. That's overburdening someone. You can see that for me in my sentence completion little demonstration that actually rest has a lot to do with potential. Like when I have more rest, I actually get more potential out, which might seem kind of like a paradox, but I've definitely seen it to be true. And it's a lesson I have to keep relearning. All that's to say, life isn't always going to give you an opportunity naturally to tap into your many degrees of potential. Sometimes you're going to need to dial this up all on your own, and that's inherently a good thing in my perspective, because that means there's always something left on the table, and you can always decide whether you tap into it or not. I don't think you always need to. Some things don't require you to use all of your potential. But if you are feeling stagnant in some way, I don't want someone to go away feeling like there isn't anything to tap into, or that it's conditional upon some other thing that's not in our control. You always have at least 5% of something, any quality of your character that you're not utilizing. See what it's like to tap into it. That said, that's going to be the end of this episode. As always, thank you for watching. Be good to yourselves, and I will see you next time.